Are we looking like, because I don't like it when I look like her lesser sister. Right. Do you know what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do actually. I do. Do you want to have a quick consultation of the rumming disorder?
This is really jam-packed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of series 3 of Running Loose. My name's Francesca.
And I'm Vanessa Ryle.
And we find ourselves in this really lovely, colourful setup, quite casual, quite comfortable. Friend of yours,
yeah,
where are we?
So we are at Culworth Grounds, which is actually where I lived for a lot of my life, a lot of my 20s. And now I don't live very far away, but it's Sophie Buckley, one of my great family friends' farm. It's a stud farm. They stand Elkabire, the stallion, and they also run the No Fun Winning Alone syndicate from here. And they do a load of like breeding, pre-training, pin hooking, you name it. Sophie does it. Loads of people in racing will have heard of her, but basically it's like a working stud farm, and it's pretty cool actually. They've expanded at a rate of knots, I would say.
I was really impressed when I drove in by the size and the scale, and I love the big rolling hills as well, and actually taking the yearlings out. Led by a couple of hunters.
Yeah, people will have seen this on my social media, but basically, they lead the yearlings off the hunters so that by the time a trainer gets them to their yard, the idea being that they've already got up the gallops just without a rider on. They've already sort of walked around the farm, but without a rider on, and so it gives them that kind of like out there experience. It's pretty cool.
And actually, Sophie's probably how I almost got to know you a little bit, because at the sales.
Yes.
It's October.
Yeah.
There's wall box areas at Tattersalls in Newmarket. My parents are selling their horses under the Fittick Stud banner there. And Sophie's often right next door, isn't she?
Yeah, and your mother is just generally terrifying her. Just so you can imagine what it's like to share a walkway with your mother. Like, think about that. Really think about it. I think poor Sophie,
she's more scary my mum or my dad.
Oh, your mum, by a million miles. Your dad used to come over and sort of be quite charming and lovely. And Sophie, was kind of like relatively new into the game as well at the time. But your mother is just terrifying. Yeah. And you, of course, were always selling kind of like beautifully bred Book 1 and Book 2 horses. And Sophie at the time was kind of lucky if she had, like one nice Book 1 horse, because, you have to get up to that point.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about that more in our next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Sales, because they're coming out around the corner. That same weekend as the Arc de Triomphe is nearly always the first Book 1 weekend, isn't it, when they're looking and then they sell the next week.
Can I just tell you one brief funny story about this farm that we're on?
Yeah.
So when I lived here to start with, they actually built me a little flat. As in not just for me, but they built it. They wanted the flat there, and then I moved into it. And Charles Buckley has always called me Vicky Pollard because he says that I just represent Vicky Pollard. And so they called the flat Pollards.
Yeah. Charles is the one, if you've listened to a previous episode, he's the one that I sat next to at Cheltenham and was laughing about the fact that you ride your horses all over the farm. And
so they're pretty good to me here, actually. Yeah, when you think about it, actually, when you sort of spell it out, let me spin my horses around the farm, built a flat for me, and now let me film podcasts here. Yeah. So we're off and rolling.
Thank you so much to the team at Culworth Grounds and to Sophie in particular. And actually, because we are really near Vanessa's house, and I've got to go to Seven Barrows later this afternoon in Lambourne, which is just now down the road, I came down last night from home in Yorkshire. It was 3.5 hour drive, and Vanessa very kindly had me to stay. Now, you learn a lot about people by going into their environment and seeing their home setup. And there were a few surprises, I've got to say.
Well, can I just point out as well, I am super stressed this week. I've got loads on. I was at fucking Wolverhampton for a 9-race card of a load of Class 6s, right? So the mood was low, and then she announces that she's coming to stay, and the house was a tip. The dogs are there. I live in like a 2 up, 2 down as well. So there's no sort of grand arrival. She said to me, I gave her the instructions about how to get in because she was landing at my house before I got there, and literally she goes, she said, "Oh, you haven't told me how to find the bedroom." I was like, "It's a 2 up, 2 down, love. There's no wings. There's not like sort of like go down the corridor and it's the 4th room on the right. Like there's 2 bedrooms. One of them's mine. One of them's yours, love."
I was kind of joking about that bit, but I never had you down as a kind of floral scattercushion kind of lady, like immaculately made bed. And a lot of floral scatter cushions.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
No, and the bedspread is quite the surprise.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm a classic example of somebody who just kind of begged, borrowed and stole when I first moved in.
Yeah.
You buy your first house, you got no money left, you don't know what, I'd love to do it beautifully like you're doing your house now, but, you're 28 or whatever I was at the time. Anyway, I begged, borrowed and stole loads of stuff, stole loads of stuff from other people's houses. And so as a result, I've got quite like a mismatch of things. And it's not until, and you viewers and listeners out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not until somebody comes into your house that you suddenly realize quite how odd some of the stuff in your house is, because you just get used to it. So the fact that kind of like the curtains don't match the lampshades and the vibe of the room and there's random photos everywhere, I don't know, in my head that's totally normal, but then
In your head, is the 4 mirrors in your bedroom totally normal? Totally normal?
so yeah, totally normal.
All have a different purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So basically in my bedroom is pretty small, very small, and I've got 4 massive mirrors. Well, 3 massive ones
Well,
and
you
one.
did say you like wandering around naked admiring yourself. Then.
So I just like myself from every angle. Exactly. No, I've got one that I like to look at front on like this. Anybody who's watching on YouTube will get what I mean. So then I look at the mirror like this, and then I can look directly to my left and I can see myself side on. Then I can see the sort of angle option, and then I can see the behind option with that one by the window.
Very clever. And then where?
Very clever.
Next to the bed? Or above the bed? What's that for?
Not quite.
No, not quite.
Not
I
quite.
got the one above.
I'm going to install that next week.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's ready.
Hey, talking of next week. Well, we want to look back on things that's happened, but you've got your best man speech this weekend. How's that coming on?
Really well. I'm really pleased with it. Need to shimmy a few things around and cut it down a little bit. So apparently the perfect best man speech is 7 minutes.
Okay, that's 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which I thought isn't very much. So mine's 10, but obviously I'm
Wow.
good. So I think you can add 3 minutes on. Right?
Of course you can. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But then I recorded it again so I got it to 10, and then I recorded it the other day without notes, and it went up to 13.
I'm sure they'll give you a little grace period because you'll be so funny.
So-
you have to keep stopping for them to
Just
laugh.
stop rolling around on the floor laughing.
I have
Yeah,
to.
maybe.
Factor in some time.
But no, that's all going well. And you've been at Doncaster.
Yeah, I had 4 days at sunny Donny, which was not, it was weird weather. Gosh, it was kind of real spring showers almost. So sunny 1 minute, and then like you could see these massive black clouds rolling in, really windy, rainy, and then that passed. Although the Sunday, I've got to say, the last day of the 4-day meeting, it's like a low-key day. Thankfully, we had the 4 races from Ireland, 4 Group 1s to keep us going. But luckily, we were undercover because it was really quite biblical. And bit of a fashion fail. My hat came flying off my head in the middle of the St Ledger paddock.
3-year-old colts waltzing around in your
I
flat.
know, I actually tried to wind Sarah up. I was like, yeah, my hat flew off, and then Lambourne got spooked, and then like the Coolmore guys were really annoyed. And she was like, what? No, don't tell me that. Luckily, no, it didn't affect anyone too much. But
Well, actually,
you know, you're live, and I was like, oh, my hat's gone.
just hat's gone.
Carried on walking, and then someone picked up my hat, brought it back to me, put it back on, kept going. So yeah, it's fine.
So talking about fashion faux pas, St Ledger Day outfit with that hat, the white, that was class. Really like that.
like
Yeah, I definitely wear that myself. Like that. So
Okay.
that got a tick.
Yeah.
Tell you what didn't get a tick, Francesca
Hang on.
Famani.
What? Can you not offend anyone in the process here? I'm all right because I haven't actually chosen these or made them.
So I'm not going to offend anyone because it was a lovely outfit. Really lovely outfit.
But anything you say before the word "but" is a lie. Yeah.
But
But
it was a lovely outfit if you live in Downton Abbey times. Like, so roll back to Haydock Spring Cup Day.
yeah.
And I'm started tuning in to watch Betfair Spring Cup, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good race, yada, yada, yada. And then Cesca appears, and she literally looks like she's just off a casting couch for Downton Abbey.
I think that's a bit harsh. I actually really liked it. Got loads of good feedback.
I'm sure it
And
did.
actually, it was really like the outfit on Ledger Day.
Okay, well,
on the
everyone
back of the
vote.
head.
Everyone vote, please. We need a vote. We need a
Okay.
fashion vote here because it was a class outfit. I loved the outfit. But literally, it was like I was just waiting for you to say, my lady.
What was I, one of the servants?
Yeah,
So-
no,
right.
definitely.
Oh.
You were sort of like, you were sort of carrying bags from the carriages to down to the Abbey.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, lovely, but only if you live in the 1920s.
Cool. Okay. Right. Thanks for that critique. Any other
No.
you'd like to put out there?
No, that was it.
Happy
Thank
with
you.
that?
Yeah, I was at Cornbury whilst you were at Doncaster.
You were at Cornbury. Wait, let's just take on Doncaster weekend.
Sorry.
Because one of the highlights from the weekend was on the Sunday when it was that low-key day of racing at
Oh,
Doncaster.
I loved it.
But we loved, so it was Jason Odell and I, and we were watching the National Stakes where you had like 3 Edna Brown horses in there, the might of Ballydoyle, and Eve Dodson-Horton ran her 2-year-old star, Zavateri, for Mick and Janice Mariscotti. And I love that kind of underdog story, right? The kind of cheap yearling that goes through the grades, keeps progressing. He'd already won a book tour at Newmarket. He won at Goodwood as well. Then he was going over there, and he was a decent price actually.
5 to 1, 6 to
cheap.
1.
Yes, yeah, something like that. And he is just such a little terrier.
Oh my God.
Really like puts his head down, pins in his ears back, stretches his little neck out, and got the job done just like beating
stud. Yeah. And what I loved about that is it was kind of smallest horse in the paddock beating biggest horse in the paddock.
Yeah.
Smallest owners beating biggest owners.
Yeah.
Smallest trainer beating biggest trainer.
Yeah.
It was sort of everything you love about a David and Goliath kind of smash up.
And the other thing that stands out always for me, so Eve Johnson-Horton, a lot of her flat horses are bought by high flyer bloodstock. So Anthony Bromley,
yeah,
who is probably better known traditionally for buying jumpers.
Yeah.
Been very successful, top level, spent a lot of money on good horses for good trainers, done really, really well. But more recently, he's bought more and more flat horses, but cheaply. So he's bought the likes of Chipotle for 10 grand, Anna Hurricane, 9 grand, both Royal Ascot 2-year-old winners, Zavateri, 35 grand, which in the whole scope of those is not very much money.
Yeah.
He has such a talent for picking out these horses at not big price tags. I don't know how he does it, but I think it's super skilled. And the nice tie-in for our sponsors, Old Bod Racing, he is our bloodstock agent at Old Bod Racing. So when it was set up, the buying process was a little bit haphazard, not haphazard, but different sources, people trying to sell you horses from different places, etc., etc. And I said, look, let's get Anthony in because he's really good at what he does. He's really straight. He's got a great reputation, lovely person, and then he can be the kind of gatekeeper. So he can say no if you're off that horse that he doesn't think is right. He can go to the sales and source horses. And he's just that. I mean, he's an expert at what he does, and you need that.
So I think the bloodstock agent game is so interesting, right? Because anybody can become a bloodstock agent. You don't have to have any qualifications. You don't have to have any, you don't have to have anything. You can literally just walk up to the sales one day and start buying horses. I mean, other than just registering with Tattersalls and kicking off in that department, you literally can just go in and buy a horse and call yourself a bloodstock agent, sell it to somebody else, and then voila, I'm a bloodstock agent. And there is no, as far as I know, there's no real public kind of market research into who are good agents and who are bad agents.
What their spend,
and it's really, I get it. It's a really hard thing to, what's the word? Quantify?
Yeah.
Like it's a really hard thing to quantify.
So many variables as well.
So many variables. So you could buy a really good horse, but if you put it with a trainer who breaks it, it's not a really good horse. And so, and that's just one of a million different things and elements that come into it. So I do get that it's really hard to gauge a good agent versus a bad agent.
Yeah.
However, there are some standouts. Anthony Bromley definitely one. Richard Brown is the other one, specifically in the last couple of years because of his Wathnam buying. Obviously, they buy a different type of horse in terms of buy
slightly deeper pockets.
And he's got deeper pockets, but it does still take skill to buy the right type of horse, even at whatever budget you're at, Yeah. And he gets it right more often than they get
Another
it
one who seems to be good at buying them at a cheaper level is Federico Barberini.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Because I just like
also
seeing
quite attractive.
That's one I would agree with you on.
Yeah.
We don't often agree on these things.
But my God. Last night and into today, I'm rattling off men in racing's names of people I fancy. And literally Cesca was like, absolutely not. And in my head, I'm thinking, what? Like,
you have rather unusual taste.
No, I think, anyway, we won't get into that.
Anyway, each to their own.
Yeah, but Federico Barberini, we both agree on.
Yeah,
that's great.
Both agree on. So that was a real highlight. But let's go back to Cornbury for you weekend.
Oh, yeah. So, whilst Cesca was at St Ledger meeting, I was at Cornbury Horse Trials, which is run by David and Fiona Howden. It's a real kind of like brainchild of theirs. It's obviously a 3-day event, but it's run over actually 5 days, and it has all the 5, 6 and 7-year-old championships, and it has 3 stars and 2 stars, loads of different young riders, ponies, everything going on. It's just a class event, and even if you're not into 3-day eventing or eventing full stop, you can enjoy Cornbury Horse Trials. So I was there 2 days doing like corporate hospitality, so I just have to kind of like host the Q&A and do a few little chats and stuff. And then on the 3rd day, the hospitality is kind of bougie public hospitality, and again, do a Q&A. But the main topic of those Q&As was the new Racehorse to Event Challenge Cup. So I don't know if anyone's heard of this out there. It kind of got a lot of press and publicity because basically Jane McGivern, who runs, she owns Racehorses and she owns Dash Grange Studs. They stand Golden Horn. Mm-hmm. She put 45 grand up for grabs for this class.
And ARC, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Arena Racing came in as the sponsors. So yeah, Art came in as the sponsors, kind of headline sponsors. Jay McGivern's kind of the brains and some of the money behind it, along with David Howden.
How does 45 grand compare to other eventing classes?
Oh my God. So I should have done my market research actually, but badminton and Burley obviously are standouts. Those sort of level, they obviously get a big check for winning that. But
big, like 100 grand?
I think so. Like maybe one of our researchers can look that up for us.
Yes.
Badminton horse trials winners prize.
But these kind of horses at this kind of level, it's a long way from.
Oh my God. So this is a novice event, which is quite a low level in the great scheme of things. Has to be a horse that was bred for racing. So it doesn't necessarily have to have raced, but it has to be bred for racing, which I actually think is a good rule. And then you can run it in the class. And there was nearly 50 entries, all loads of professional riders in there, because 45 grand up for grabs in eventing is kind of unheard of. And they obviously also, when the class got announced a year ago, they started sourcing horses for it.
Oh, that's great.
So like Bobby Upton rode one, Huey Morrison off the track kind of stayer, actually bred for the flat, jumps for fun, really cool horse. And she just ran it in 2 events and then took it there. And she finished, I think she was like in top 10 or whatever. Anyway, it was class. I loved it. It was a great combo for me because it was Howden, it was eventing, it was racehorses and thoroughbreds, and it was Arena Racecourse.
You're right.
Arena Racing Company. So
perfect. It was synergy going.
It was all my tie-ins, guys. I felt like I was ticking all the corporate boxes. But yeah, no, it was great.
Good. And
saw some celebs actually.
Oh, I thought you weren't very aware of celebs.
No, well, I have to have them pointed out to me. Apparently David Cameron was there. Nice, like him.
Fancy him?
No, didn't fancy David Cameron. Who else was there? Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah.
And that bloke that got the sack from the Formula One.
Horner. What's his name?
Christian. Well done.
Yeah.
Who else was there? There were celebrity type people. But anyway.
Made a real impact.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like in the job zone. You know how it is, and you're kind of rocky and rolling, and like it's hard to keep your eyes peeled for better known people than yourself, essentially.
Any real stars? You the star.
The star.
Did you agree for that? The star.
Yes, I did. So I got quite a lot of grief actually from the last podcast. So announcing myself as a star, apparently people don't warm to that.
Funny that.
Funny.
That kind of blatant arrogance. Yeah. I'm all right with it. It's fine.
Yeah, thank you. People did not like the fact I drank a pumpkin spice latte. That went down very badly.
I judged you on that.
Yeah, you did.
I'm afraid. Yeah.
And also think we've got to kind of move away from me getting all those sayings wrong.
No, I love your.
So this has become
I'm
like
waiting for another one actually.
Yeah, so this has become such a like famous thing from, well, I don't know, like something I'm associated with, getting sayings wrong. So the classic is I called somebody an old todger. Apparently that means penis.
Does mean
so, yeah.
You're trying to say old codger.
Yeah. And I call it an old todger.
On air?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. An old todger.
Yeah.
So that was good. What is the other one? Damp squib.
Yeah.
I was calling it damp squid. Does
Yeah.
anyone know that's wrong?
Yeah.
I think loads of people get that wrong.
Yeah, loads of people.
What else was there? And then the one obviously last week was I was calling something a home goal. Apparently it's an own goal. Didn't know that. I mean, I did leave school at 16. I'm extremely uneducated.
That's true. And the changing tact?
Oh,
Tact?
yeah, got that wrong last week as well. And there was another one I got really wrong as well. Can't remember what it is now. But anyway, the bottom line is I love fucking these things up.
Micro blading.
Oh,
done that one.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's good. Life is a education.
Also,
learning as we go.
Also, obviously, I have the segment and show all riled up.
Yeah.
And we thought we should have Kumani corrects.
Yeah. Well, become like a real anal grammatical pedant. So that's a great.
Yeah, I'm sure people will really warm to you.
I'm sure people will really warm to you. I think a friend gave me a fridge magnet once being like, my life is a choice between having friends and correcting their grammar. It's like, I really can't resist if someone like does some terrible spelling or, I know, how annoying.
Can't you just let it go?
No, I should.
Just
I feel
relax.
like I'm doing them a favour. No.
I actually, anyway, I actually don't mind being told what to do in these situations, but
Okay,
being
well,
corrected.
I will pick them out as they come along. We are thrilled to have Old Gold Racing sponsoring season 3 of Running Loose.
They're one of the UK's leading racehorse syndicates, making ownership fun and affordable, with shares starting from just £60.
As an owner, you'll get weekly updates on your horse, the chance to win race day tickets, and invitations to stable visits.
And Old Gold have horses in training all over the UK and in Ireland as well now, with none other than Henry de Bromhead.
Head over to allgoldracing.com to find out more. And as a special offer to Running Loose listeners, enter the code RL15 for 15% off your first share.
Plus, anyone who redeems that discount code will automatically go into a draw to win a magnificent bundle of 10 horse shares, and that's a brilliant way to get involved.
So, we chatted quite a lot about American racing in our last
We've had developments, everyone.
So that went
exciting.
down well. We were looking ahead a bit to the Breeders' Cup. You're going to the Breeders' Cup. We were chatting about a few key lead-up races to the Breeders' Cup, because so much attention at this time of year is all focusing towards that big weekend, late October, early November? Late October.
Well, it's like the 1st, 2nd of November this year, but yeah. So it was the first weekend in November, yeah.
Okay. And there are some more key races coming up with a view to the Breeders' Cup Classic, or other races as well. The opening meet at Santa Anita is this weekend. So off the back of our chat about American racing, we have now, going forward, teamed up with First Racing, who are based in the States, to help bring a bit more awareness about what's coming up and the big meetings leading into the Breeders' Cup meeting.
Yeah, and helpful, because when I first got picked up to do some American racing and sort of be the European correspondent type role out there, which we've discussed before, I remember thinking this American racing game is just so alien to what we like. It's obviously the same sport, but it feels very different. And when you sort of just looking at it from the outside in, it's kind of like where the hell do you start, basically, because it's just run so differently. Obviously, you've got the East and the West Coast divide situation going on. So you've got trainers based either East or West, and then they ship their whole team kind of out to different meets, basically. And so, they'll ship out to Saratoga, for example, for 6 weeks, however long that goes on for. And then they ship around, go up to Keeneland. And then obviously they train on the track. That's totally different to what we do over here. Those American friends of yours that came to Doncaster.
And American friends at Doncaster, and they were like, hey, so what time are the horses doing their workouts in the morning? That's a really bad accent.
Or like racially offensive.
Wait, what, on the track? And they were like, yeah, on the track. I was like, no, there's no training on the track. That just doesn't happen. Although, Wolverhampton and Southall.
Scott Dixon trains at Southall, famously.
Yeah. Which I wonder if that could go more that way in the future, because obviously the cost of having your own yard and your own facilities is so prohibitive. So I wonder if we could go a bit more towards an American model in the future. Anyway, so this weekend coming up, it is the Santa Anita opening meet. So when you're talking about horses shipping around and the focus changing from one place to another, well, now it goes over to Santa Anita, which is in California, and it's got to be one of the most beautiful tracks in America, right? It's one of the biggest, it's one of the most picturesque. It's got the big palm trees in the background, the mountains in the background.
It's everything. So if you typed into Google Santa Anita racetrack, you see these unbelievable pictures of kind of sunrises over the mountains, etc., and you think it can't actually be like that, and then when you get there, it actually is like that, but kind of 10 times better. Just, it is class. It's a great racetrack. There's been some great racing there over the years, some like kind of epic duels, and it's just a class spot. And then you walk around there and you feel like some sort of like Hollywood like movie star with horses. It's just great. I loved it when I was there.
Yeah, I've been, but not since I was like 12. And honestly, when I was a kid, and I don't really remember it that well. So I really want to go back at some stage, but it won't be this year because we're here, basically. And the Breeders' Cup this year is in Dunmore, as you've explained, which is only a few hours up the road from Santa Anita. The Goodwood is the big race. Well, they got 5 Grade 1s at the weekend. The Goodwood being the big one, which has been renamed. Previously was called the California Chrome last year. Now it's been renamed because they have lots of ties with Goodwood Racecourse and the Oak Tree Stakes, etc., that's run at Goodwood. So there's an obvious tie-in there.
So basically, it's like a race day, 5 Grade 1s.
Race weekend.
Win and you're into the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
Win the races, get a free ticket to the Breeders' Cup race that it equates to, basically.
Yeah.
And as a result, loads of trainers will be using it as a prep run for the Breeders' Cup because it's kind of perfect duration out.
Yeah.
So in many ways, the American racing is very different to the European racing, but in the way that you still would prepare a horse, it's actually still very similar.
Yeah.
As in there's kind of like obvious hit points and targets. Santa Anita, maybe Keeneland and at the weekend after as well. And then obviously take the break, go to your big championship race.
Yeah.
So it kind of still is the same, but it is different.
Yeah. And of the Breeders' Cup races, would you say the biggest, the most important one, especially for them, is the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Oh my
I'm
God.
not dirt over a mile and a quarter.
The Breeders' Cup Classic, I'm not into dirt. I wasn't into dirt racing because, again, for anyone who is really new to this American racing chat, obviously they have turf racing out there, which is where our European horses really thrive at the Breeders' Cup meet. But they also have the dirt racing, which is kind of a totally different style of racing to all-weather racing over here. It's kind of not really that
Dirt is
comparable.
basically like a sand track.
Yeah.
Compared to an all-weather, which is more of a
Synthetic, yeah. So... But the Breeders' Cup Classic is their big race of the Breeders' Cup. That's what all those American trainers want to win. And that's what they're sort of, it's a case of the 3-year-olds meet the older horses as well.
It's where City of Troy went last year.
Yes.
In an attempt to try and prove himself
so disappointing.
on the dirt. But Coolmore won it anyway with Sierra Leone, who's a horse that we've spoken about before, who you really like as well. And then they have like a pecking order for the Breeders' Cup Classic. So it's like a rating system. All the rankings of the horses going into it. Current number 1 is Sovereignty.
Yeah.
The Derby winner, Belmont winner. So he didn't do the Preakness, so he didn't get the Triple Crown, but he's very much at the top of the tree. 3-year-old. Fierceness, older horse.
Yeah.
Won one of the trials recently. Sierra Leone won the race last year.
Yeah.
Mindframe was a horse that the jockey fell off.
Yeah.
In the Gold Cup.
The Gold Cup, yeah.
Journalism is the horse that had the kind of tussle with Sovereignty, another 3-year-old. He won the Preakness. And then you've got Forever Young in number 6, who's a Japanese horse.
So again, the comparison is a bit like, what race can I use as a comparison? So it's kind of like the 3-year-olds and the sort of classic generation meeting the older horses would be a bit like if we had a vintage King George, for example.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
A Jumpman International.
Or a Jumpman International.
Or an Eclipse.
Or, any of those races where you get the 3-year-olds meeting the older horses, and that's what they're going to have in the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is going to be so great because the names you've rattled off with Fierceness and Sierra Leone, I mean, they're top class older horses, and then Sovereignty and Journalism are just like a great 3-year-old crop. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be class. If they even just if nearly all of that list get there, it will be unbelievable. I was actually at Keeneland when. Yes, I'm right in saying that.
For a Breeders' Cup?
For a Breeders' Cup when Flightline won. And it was unbelievable.
Yeah?
Yeah. When he won his Breeders' Cup Classic, it was just unbelievable. The atmosphere, the hype around him, the excitement levels. The Americans just get behind those classic dirt horses like you wouldn't believe. I mean, that is, all the other grade ones kind of sit like that and they're like really celebrated. But then the Breeders' Cup Classic seems to sit above the rest. And it's just...
Have you watched the Netflix series Race to the Crown?
Yes.
Race for the Crown? Race to the Crown.
Race to the Crown.
Race to the Crown. They capture the characters of American racing so well.
Yeah.
They literally start the whole series with a focus in on some of the most kind of outlandish, extravagant, crazily over the top owners. But they do it so well because they really capture the people.
Yeah, but
which can you imagine trying to do it in England?
Honestly,
it wouldn't work.
So if anybody hasn't watched that series on Netflix, go have a watch of it because it's great. But it's only great because of the access they get to the characters, and then on top of that, the fact that the characters are willing to just be the characters.
Yeah.
Whereas if you said to some of our lot, John Gosden, Aidan O'Brien, William Buick, can we mic you up, Charlie Appleby, and then like have a sort of boom over you when you're having those really intimate kind of like team tactic chat, you just know you wouldn't get the real thing. And look, I get it, but at the same time, we can't open the doors to the public without showing people like real authenticity and a sort of genuine.
But I feel like to your point about Americans, they're just a bit more willing to be like unashamedly themselves, right? Whereas I buttoned up English.
I really like, because I'm pretty much like, here I am, as you may have noticed on this pod. So the American way really suits me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I get out there and I'm like, after 2 days,
hey, I'm Vanessa, I'm the star.
Yeah, basically, exactly. And so literally after about 2 days, I've got an American accent and I'm sort of off rocking and rolling. I told you, didn't I, that it was Delmar last year and we were in the bar after, I think, day 1 maybe of the Breeders' Cup, and I was ordering a drink, and I'm sure I've not told you this story, and I'm sure it was Hugo Palmer that was behind me. He had runners. I'm pretty sure it was Hugo, and we were all like in a bar and sort of English and Americans all mixing, having a great time. And I was ordering a drink, and I must have done it in such an American accent, because then Hugo turned around and he's like, have you like become American? But I just lean into it so much. I'm just like, these are my people. This is my way.
Okay.
Because they're just.
Can we not lose you to America, by the way, because that would not be good. So don't enjoy it too much when you go.
No. Also, I don't think. Yeah, I was going to say something inappropriate, but I have filtered.
Go on.
I was just going to say I don't think that the men are appropriate for me.
No. All American men. Not one man in the whole of America that would suit you. What's this based on? A bit of market research, or how have we come to this conclusion?
I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't well. I'm not sure I was well received out there.
That way around. As in, none of the American men would take.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Okay. Yeah, I just mean more kind of.
If there are any American men out there listening that would, like the challenge, then please do get into
the challenge. I think the challenge is the key word there. What I mean is, I think, there was a preconceived idea about what a British lady might be like. And I think maybe I surprised a few people at perhaps not being the sort of stereotypical woman. Put it this way, if they're expecting to see a sort of version of the Queen, for example, then that was not me.
Every British woman's a version of the Queen. We're racing royalty, after all.
Yeah, quite.
Whereas
I think when you go over there, I bet they're just like, oh, this is exactly what I expected.
Well,
she's classy, she's queeny, she's got good vibes. There's me making some joke about,
Jesus.
Well, I was going to say something else, but yeah, exactly.
Okay. Riled up. Are you riled up this week? Come on. Otherwise, we're going to drop the segment because there's like
Vanessa doesn't get riled up enough.
Vanessa.
Stopwatch. Okay, you ready?
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready is the question. Ready, steady, rile.
Okay. Well, no, start again. So I've lost the second.
Okay. You've lost 4, actually. Ready? Go.
Okay, the thing that I was particularly riled up about this week is a 9-race card at Wolverhampton or anywhere. So obviously normal race card is kind of 7 or maximum 8 races, and occasionally when you get a split division of a handicap or a novice stakes or whatever, you go up to 9 races, and it's just such a long night. And when you're there on your own as a single presenter, as in you don't have a pundit with you, 9 races at a low level is quite hard to keep the kind of excitement levels high. Is that fair?
Very fair.
I mean, on the basis that you do about maximum 4 races a day, can you imagine trying to get through 9?
9 on Sunday.
Yeah, but they're like sort of 9 group 1s. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. So all joking aside, and look, I do love my job, so I'm not that riled up about it. But when I see a 9-race card, I'm like, for fuck's sake. But everyone is. Let's just be
honest. Because actually, often our 9 races are like one every 15 minutes, so it's jammed into a shorter period of time.
Exactly. Whereas for me, 9 races starts at 4 and ends at just before 9 or whatever.
I know you got back late last night.
Yeah, I know, and you were waiting for me.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, cute. Was not quite. But no, sometimes that does annoy me. But also it's just for stable staff and things as well. It's just, it's a long old day. If you've got a runner in the first, runner in the last, and you've got to get home, and the last race is just before 9. And I know why they do it, but as you said, it kind of touches upon just so much racing, too much racing. And it's just really hard to, I'm aware I'm still ranting, but just as a final point of the show.
30 seconds.
I'm all about kind of like trying to make the races interesting for the viewer, not just from a punting point of view, but just from a race point of view. And the last 5 races on that card were all class 6 handicaps.
Seems a bit like betting shop fodder,
doesn't it does a bit. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. Please make sure. What are all the
How can we be so bad at closing these shows?
No, because I was thinking other podcasts you listen to. You've got to subscribe, tell your friends, follow along on social media. What else?
If you did all of those things, we'd be absolutely delighted. Yeah. We need you to watch us on YouTube. We need you to subscribe on Spotify and Apple. We need you to write a little review.
Reviews.
And just send me a little private message saying I love you.
To you?
Yeah.
To both of us. Please.
Makes me feel good.
Okay. Right, that's the wrap for this episode of Running Loose. So please make sure you join us next time.